Hey guys, welcome back to another week of comparing and contrasting. So this week is Earth Day is on Wednesday, so all of our ELA stories are going to be based on Earth Day type themes. So let's go ahead and get started. I can compare and contrast nonfiction. So remember, we're working on that nonfiction real stories. Okay. So let's do our essential questions together. What is comparing? What is contrasting? How do you find similarities and differences? And how can you organize your ideas? So we have used a couple of organizers for our ideas, one being the T-charts, another being the Venn diagrams, and another just writing about differences and similarities. So those are some great ways to organize your ideas when comparing. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We are going to read about wind power and about solar power today. So we're going to go to a cool website called Ducksters, and I believe I've done a story from them before. But they are kind of like almost like an encyclopedia a little bit for kids. So we're going to read all about wind power, then we'll read about solar power, and then tell you about your challenge. So, all right, and I'm going to get out of my presentation here so that I can pull it up for you. So remember, this is coming from Ducksters, a really cool kids encyclopedia website. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read this all about our wind energy. So what is wind power? Wind power is energy, such as electricity, that is generated directly from the wind. It is considered a renewable energy source because there's always wind on Earth and we aren't using up the wind when we make energy from it. So just because we're using it doesn't mean that it's going to run out. So that's renewable energy is a big word that we're going to talk about a little bit today, where it's energy that you can just keep generating because it's not going to run out. And wind power also does not cause pollution. So pollution meaning chemicals into the environment. So here's kind of how it works. So wind turbines and wind farms, in order to make electricity from wind, energy companies use large windmills and wind turbines. They're called this because they use turbine generators to generate electricity. In order to create a lot of energy capable of powering thousands of homes, energy companies build large wind farms with lots of wind turbines, which are these things right here, and they use these they usually build these in consistently windy places. So if you were to build this somewhere where it's not windy, it would not be very effective because it would not spin as fast as it needed to create energy. Some companies build wind farms out in the ocean because there's a lot of wind out there. These are called offshore wind farms. I'm going to read a couple more things about the wind turbines, and then we're going to move into solar. And you are going to be reading about wind turbines, just a short little article about that on your own when you do your challenge today. So let's continue. Remember to try to read with me if you can. How tall are wind turbines? Wind turbines are really big structures. The tower itself is typically between 200 and 300 feet tall. When you add in the height of the blades, some turbines tower 400 feet high. The blades are quite big too, and they are typically 3 wind blades on a wind turbine. Each blade is usually between 115 and 148 feet long, so they're huge. And you guys may have seen them when you drive to California and you see the big wind turbine farm there. How does a wind turbine work? A wind turbine works the opposite of a fan. Instead of using electricity to turn the blades to make it wind, it uses the wind to turn blades to make electricity. And when the wind turns the blades turn a shaft inside the turbine, and the shaft is big but turns slowly. The shaft, however, is connected to a number of gears which cause a smaller shaft to turn much faster. This smaller shaft drives the electrical generator, which generates the electricity that can be used by homes and businesses. So there it is right there, the kind of the mechanics of it all, and they have labeled all of the pieces there for you, but the wind rotates that, which then it gets converted into electricity from this generator here. So very cool, great source of renewable energy to help the earth and reduce those chemicals in the earth. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at another article from the same website, Dexter's, and we're going to read about solar power. And I want you to compare and contrast what is the difference between the two. And remember, try to read with me if you can. The environment, there's so many ads on this website. The environment, solar energy. What is solar power? Primary source of, I'm going to knock out this ad here. Primary source of all energy on the planet is from the sun. Solar power is generated directly from sunlight. Solar power can be used for heat energy or converted into electric energy. So you may have seen these solar cells. They're these little tiny blocks and they're put together to create a solar panel. And if you take a look around your neighborhood, you might see some of those on top of roofs. That is the way to save energy and create your own energy without hurting the earth. When we use solar power, we don't use any of the Earth's resources like coal or oil. This makes solar power a renewable energy source. Solar power also is clean power, so it doesn't generate a lot of pollution. So those are two important things when you're taking a look at renewable energy. Is it going to run out? And no, it's not going to run out because we always have the sun. And it's something that we can use over and over again without hurting the earth. And I'm going to skip down to how it works here real quick. Trying to block some of these ads here. So many ads on here. Solar cells converted the energy from photons from the sun into electricity. When the photon hits the top of the cell, the electrons will be attracted to the surface of the cell. It causes a voltage to form between the top and bottom layers of the cell, and when the electric circuit is formed across the top and bottom of the cell, the current will flow, powering the electrical equipment. It takes a lot of solar cells, those little tiny blocks within the solar panel, to build a home, to power a building or a home. In this case, a number of solar cells are connected to a large array of cells that can produce more total energy. So another great source of renewable energy. So I've got a couple of short passages for you for your challenge today. I want you to compare, since we were talking about it a lot last week, I want to see what you can do, and I want you to compare wind power and solar power, what's the same and what's different about them. So here's your challenge today. You're going to go to Google Classroom. You're going to go to week 420-424. Today is 420, today's challenges, and then you can go solar, wind power, compare and contrast, and happy reading because it is awesome. And so let me pull it up so you know what it looks like. So here is the compare and contrast. You've got a story about wind energy, one about solar energy, and then you're going to write a similarity, a difference, and a benefit of using renewable energy. Now, when you're writing this, please focus on having complete sentences because you are in second grade, almost third graders, guys. So we want to have that capital at the beginning and period at the end. So to make a capital, remember from Typing Club that you press Shift first and then you press the letter, and that will make a capital letter. And so I really want you to focus on your typing skills a little bit in your sentences, making sure you've got a capital at the beginning and a period at the end, and it is a full, complete sentence. So remember our cups method, where you're going to cross off the beginning and start your sentence with whatever's in the question. So you're going to say, at least one similarity between wind and solar energy is. Okay, and same for this one. At least one difference between wind and solar energy is. So remember to use those complete sentences and have fun reading about solar energy and wind energy. Super interesting stuff, guys. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful day, and we will see you back tomorrow. Bye.